From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, February 15th. A much warmer afternoon after a cold couple of days. Enjoy some high temps in the low to upper 40s, plenty of sunshine. Some places in southern Indiana could hit the 50s. And we did have breaking news along the border between Russia and Ukraine this morning. The overnight hours saw a slight easing of the tension. Russia's defense ministry says some troops doing military drills along the border are returning to their bases. Some drills started in Belarus last week. Not all troops are standing down, though. The defense ministry says many large-scale exercises will continue. And this is good news for the stock market. Futures overnight saw a sharp jump since the news broke. It's a stark contrast to the drop seen yesterday after the news of the U.S. Embassy closure in Ukraine. We'll get to more on that here in a moment. With a large-scale presence still fueling tensions in the region, though, you may soon feel a direct impact here at home. There are 4 possible ways analysts say a conflict could affect your wallet. Since Russia is the world's second largest oil producer, you may have to pay more for gas. Food prices will go up as Russia is the top producer of wheat. You may have a higher interest rate on your next loan to combat inflation. And finally, your stock portfolio could take a hit as the markets react to the conflict. Okay, now to the embassy closure. American diplomats are relocating after that decision to close the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv. The State Department says those staying in the country will move farther from the positions of Russian troops. The Biden administration says the door to diplomacy is still open, but it is up to Russian President Vladimir Putin to decide the direction he wants to take.
We are actively working to reach a diplomatic solution to de-escalate the crisis. Over the weekend, as you all know, the president spoke with President Putin, and we remain engaged with the Russian government in full coordination with our allies and partners. The path for diplomacy remains available if Russia chooses to engage constructively.
Ukraine's president is declaring tomorrow a day of unity in the country. He says the government has been told an attack could happen then. The Pentagon has also said an attack could happen as soon as this week. A mixed-use building on Indy's west side caught fire early this morning. It was on Washington Street east of Lyndhurst Drive. Firefighters told our crew at the scene that the building housed an unoccupied apartment and an automotive repair business. Wayne Township Fire confirms nobody was hurt. Crews also say that they arrived to a non-working fire hydrant and had to quickly make a contingency there. The department believes the fire started in the back of the building. Vaccine mandate protests along the United States-Canadian border could continue despite a new order coming from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Trudeau enacted emergency powers, which would give the Canadian government broad powers to restore order. He already said he plans on not using the Canadian military to end the protests, but Canada does plan to tow any vehicles still blocking roads, to freeze truckers' personal and corporate bank accounts, and also suspend the insurance on their rigs. Freedom convoys have also appeared around the world, and U.S. officials warn they may happen here. U.S. Marshals arrested a man for a summertime murder in Indianapolis. The crime happened in July in a neighborhood just off Stop 11 Road on the far south side of the city. The victim was named Sean Naylor. Authorities say the suspect surrendered in Union City, Tennessee, and are not releasing his name. In Elkhart County, a man is in custody for a double murder. Elkhart police say a 19-year-old man shot Haley Smith and Dustin Carr Saturday night behind a Papa John's in Elkhart. The victims worked there. Another employee found the body Sunday. Formal charges are due later this week. And this morning, questions plague a community search for justice in the murders of 2 teenagers in Delphi. We are 5 years removed from the discovery of Abby Williams and Libby German's bodies off the Monon High Bridge Trail. News 8's Demi Johnson spoke with a former FBI agent for his take on the most recent development of a social media account that's being investigated alongside the murder case.
If he was let go after confessing, he was let go after all these documentation and forensic evidence that the FBI and the state police shared, and he was so cooperative. My guess is maybe he was cooperating on something else against somebody else, and they didn't want to bring that to anyone's attention.
That's what retired FBI agent Michael Tapman believes happened in the case against Kegan Kline. Kline is the man who admitted to creating the Anthony Schatz profile, the same profile being investigated by Indiana State Police in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. But state police didn't share that profile with the public until almost 5 years after the girls were murdered. They also didn't name Kline as the creator of the account. Those documents were uncovered by Wish TV a day later. Tapman says he isn't sure why.
I don't know that not naming it by name would protect anything. Once the information on that account is out, anyone involved with that would know I need to get off that account.
But he does have a theory about the profile. Tapman says oftentimes child porn cases cast a wide web.
If that account is communicating with girl A from one ISP and girl B from a different ISP at the same time, it would indicate more than one person signed on that account. So there's probably some digital evidence that would indicate there was more than one person using that account. And it wouldn't surprise me in that these child predators do tend to work in groups because they share videotapes and they share methods and they share girls.
Questions have also surfaced over the years about why there were two different sketches of possible suspects and if there's more to the video clip investigators found on Libby's phone. Tapman tells me sometimes information is released to see what people know, and to get the answer they're looking for, law enforcement will intentionally leave things out.
And sometimes investigators just hit a brick wall, not because they're doing bad work, but they can't create evidence that is not there.
In Indianapolis, I'm Demi Johnson for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Kegan Kline is not charged in the double homicide. No one is. Kline is in the Miami County Jail awaiting trial on 30 child porn and solicitation charges. He's scheduled back in court later this month. And this morning, we are hearing from the attorney for the Purdue student that was seen in a recent arrest video that circulated widely on social media. Andrew Stroth is representing Adonis Tuggle and his family. Phil Sanchez spoke to Stroth on News 8's Unfiltered. Last night, Stroth said that the video evidence is crucial in this case.
Okay, so the prosecutor, as you very well know, has asked for state police to take over the case for an independent investigation, as you just mentioned, called for. Do you believe your clients are getting a fair, independent investigation by police?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think the good thing about this case is that there is video evidence, so the world can see what in fact happened. And from our perspective, Adonis did not escalate. Adonis was not armed. Without cause or provocation, this white officer took down Adonis, punched Adonis, and used his elbow to hurt Adonis' neck. I mean, that's what happened, and that's what's on the video.
In that unfiltered conversation, Stroth also explained why he thinks this case is so sensitive. He says students and their families should know they are safe on a college campus. Today, prosecutors start calling witnesses in the federal trial in the Ahmaud Arbery shooting. Day one of the trial saw opening statements from both sides. It's a hate crime trial, so the verdict will hinge on whether prosecutors can convince the jury that Greg McMichael, Travis McMichael, and William Bryan chased down and killed Arbery because he was black. Their attorneys contend the men were trying to prevent a crime. That argument failed to sway the jury in a state trial that resulted in guilty verdicts for all three. Sunday's Super Bowl halftime performance was the first time the show included hip-hop performers as the headliners. Local African studies and diversity equity experts say this was a long time coming. The NFL is made up of about 70% of black players. A professor at IUPUI told News 8 that the performance continues the conversation of social and racial equity.
Black joy is something that we get to have, right? So, I mean, to see them on that stage, it still is wonderful, right? But I think we can still ask questions and still be very critical.
Part of the performance included Eminem taking a knee at the end of his set. Now, this comes as the NFL makes moves to improve social equity by creating initiatives to support change. However, just last week, NFL President Roger Goodell admitted there still is not enough diversity amongst coaching staff. All right, if you're feeling extra sad or depressed around this time of year, you're not alone. Mental health experts say seasonal affective disorder is peaking right now, also known as SAD. Experts with the National Alliance of Mental Illness, or NAMI, say it's episodes of depression in late fall and all through winter. alternating with periods of normal mood the rest of the year. One big reason is the decrease in light this time of year, and research still is being done on how the pandemic impacted this with isolation. NAMI says symptoms include oversleeping, overeating, lack of interest, and suicidal thoughts.
With our own helpline, we have increased the number of calls that we've been receiving. Our helpline staff say that also their calls are even more intense.
And there are resources for you or someone you know going through this. If someone is in danger, call 911. You can also text the crisis line 24/7. Text NAMI to 741-741. You can also text 211 for resources in the state, or you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at the number we have on wishtv.com. These are all resources available for Hoosiers who are or think they are battling with depression. NAMI says some tips to help with SAD are exercise, seek therapy, and if you're able, it's a good idea to go somewhere, maybe take a vacation where it's warm and you'll get some sunshine. Greenwood police are using new technology in hopes of curbing crime. The department is now using license plate readers called flock cameras. Chief James Eisen says they've been an invaluable tool that led to the recovery of 17 stolen vehicles, 2 missing persons, and helped in numerous criminal investigations. The license plate readers are essentially cameras, allowing police to search for license plates or vehicles that they're trying to find. Chief Eisen says it takes just 15 seconds for license plates to run through the National Crime Information Center and alert police. These license plate readers are connected to a database used by other police departments, too, all across the country. Its success led to Simon Properties purchasing 4 of them after a couple of crimes at Greenwood Park Mall. Greenwood police say that it hopes more local businesses will purchase the readers as they can avoid potential dangerous situations from happening.
If they have an employee that's been terminated and they're worried about safety for other employees with this person returning, or someone that's been trespassed from the mall and not allowed to be on mall property, we can actually go in and they will be able to go in to their cameras and enter that person's vehicle information. So if it passes one of the cameras coming into the mall, it will automatically notify them and us.
Greenwood Police was the first department to roll this new technology out last year. Now all law enforcement agencies in Johnson County have it too. A man is charged with attempted murder after police say he shot at a candidate for mayor in Louisville. Officers arrested Quintez Brown. Police say he opened fire in Craig Greenberg's office yesterday. Greenberg wasn't hurt. A bullet did hit a piece of his clothing. According to Greenberg, Brown walked into the office, pulled out a gun, and aimed it directly at him, opening fire. He says he and other staffers were able to close the door and block it with desks and tables. Police haven't released a motive.
Crafting a short, like a 5-minute or less film to be utilized specifically in this context, specifically for this audience, nobody seemed to really truly do.
An Indianapolis-based company is bringing a new wave of therapy to human trafficking survivors in hopes of opening doors to healing. IT-Mate talked to the creator of the films. Mark Steenbarger started Point of View Stories. He describes the films as open-ended, focusing on topics like trust, coercion, and identity. Each film is 3 to 8 minutes long. Steenbarger says they're meant to help trafficking survivors better recognize what happened to them and reduce their risk of repeat exploitation.
We're able to show what coercion looks like, the subtleties of it, the nuances of it. We're able to show what it looks like when somebody's attacking your identity.
We have a list of human trafficking resources, including more information on Point of View Story, online at wishtv.com. Just click on this story in the As Seen on Wish TV section. Former President Trump's accounting firm says 10 years' worth of tax records for the Trump Organization are unreliable, and the firm will be dropping both as clients. Mazars Accounting says it came to the conclusion after the New York Attorney General made new filings last month as part of the state's investigation into Trump. The decade of statements are from 2010 through 2020. While this applies to the Trump Organization, the firm is also ending its relationship with the former president, citing a conflict of interest. The new filing suggests the Trump Organization used fraudulent or misleading valuations of its property. In a statement, a spokesperson for the Trump Organization said while it's disappointed in Mazars' decision, it claims a subsequent review of statements found no discrepancies. A multi-million-dollar mixed-use project is planned for Plainfield. Indianapolis-based New City Development is behind the project, along with partners from Formation Properties and Pulte Homes. It's called Hobbs Station and has a price tag of $300 million. The community will feature residential, retail, office, and restaurant space. The partners expect to break ground this summer. IPS is hosting 2 vaccine clinics at Crispus Attucks High School on Dr. Martin Luther King Street today. The first is from 2:45 to 6. IPS says MMR, polio, HPV, flu, and COVID-19 vaccines will all be offered. Free school supplies and gift card raffles will also be available. A second clinic will open on March 16th at the same time. And this is happening as the state health department reports a decline in COVID cases and hospitalizations in Indiana. The most recent numbers show 127 fewer Hoosiers in the hospital. That is not stopping the CDC from issuing travel advisories across the globe, though. The agency added 6 new places to the level 4 category of advisories. Those are labeled as very high risk. The new additions include South Korea, French Polynesia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Comoros, and the small French territory islands of St. Pierre and Miquelon. According to the CDC, there are now 140 places in level 4. The federal government says it reached a multi-million-dollar settlement with a steel company in Northwest Indiana. As part of the deal, ArcelorMittal will pay $3 million and make other environmental improvements. The state says the company was too slow to act on a chemical spill. According to a government report, toxic chemicals like ammonia spilled into the Little Calumet River. It's a tributary into Lake Michigan. It killed thousands of fish and closed beaches in 2019. The government says the deal should help reduce the water pollution. You can vote for an Oscar this year. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is adding fan favorite voting. You can weigh in on 2 categories. For Best Movie, use the title and the hashtag #OscarsFanFavorite in a tweet between now and March 3rd. For Favorite Movie Scene, use the hashtag OscarsCheerMoment. The awards will be part of the Oscars ceremony March 27th. A local organization is celebrating Black History Month with meal deliveries. Meals on Wheels of Central Indiana will be delivering meals throughout the city, partnering with Hank Mosley, the missions manager at the Eastern Star Church Care Center. He'll lead the first delivery. Those begin at noon. Today, the airport is hiring. Administrators say there are more than 50 jobs available at a job fair from 10 to 2 today. If you go, head to the South Ticketing Hall at the airport. Most jobs are in food and beverage and retail. If you ride the bus, Indigo has a limited number of passes to get there. If you drive, organizers say go to the terminal garage and they'll validate your parking. One Indiana Fever great will take over for another in a massive shakeup at the top of the team. Tamika Cutchings will no longer be general manager or vice president of basketball operations. She explained in a statement, writing in part, "While change is never easy, now it's time to take a step back from my role, take a well-earned rest, and prioritize my family, my philanthropy, our community, and my other passions." Cutchings was drafted in 2001 and spent her entire 15 years playing with the team. They then joined the team's front office. The team has won just 6 games each of the last 2 years. Lynn Dunn will now serve as interim GM. She coached the Fever to the WNBA title in 2012. Betting experts don't think much of the Colts Super Bowl chances next season. Sports books like DraftKings and BetMGM have the Colts as 25-1 odds to win the Super Bowl, similar to the Chargers and Buccaneers. The 2 teams in the Super Bowl are not favorites to return. The Bills and the Chiefs have the best odds right now. And Oakland remembers a legend. The city hosted a memorial for John Madden, appropriately held at Oakland Coliseum, where his former team, the Raiders, played. Madden coached the Raiders for 10 years. He passed away December 28th at 85 years old. Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera spoke about the most important lesson Madden taught him.
He said, Ron, you've played enough football. You've coached enough football. Go by your gut.
Tickets for the memorial cost $32.14. That was the final score in Madden's Super Bowl victory in 1977. Proceeds are going to educational opportunities for young people. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.